Welcome to this series of videos on how to play 1918, the new First World War miniatures game from Wolf Games. 1918 is a platoon to company scale miniatures game, meaning that around 30 to 100 miniatures are used on each side to play a game. The game is intended for 28mm miniatures. However, you could use 15 or 20mm miniatures without any real problems. In 1918, players command combined arms forces made up of infantry, cavalry, tanks and aircraft. The game focuses on the command challenges that are faced by junior officers, such as lieutenants or captains, who are to coordinate and push forward their forces under heavy fire. The game encourages players, therefore, to make use of authentic small unit tactics. 1918 is set in the final year of the Great War, which is a year of huge drama. The fate of Europe hangs in the balance as Germany launches a series of maximum effort hammer blows, its Great Spring Offensive. And the Allied powers, daunted but not defeated, rally for their own 100 Days counter-offensive. The fighting is mobile and varied and encompasses all the technological and tactical advances of previous years. In the remainder of this video, we're going to take a look at the two forces for our how to play scenario, and then subsequent videos are going to cover 3 turns of a game of 1918, explaining the key mechanics as we go. So, without further ado, let's look at the German force. So, first of all, we have a sergeant leading this platoon element. So, the sergeant is the senior leader and he will be in command in this force in the battle. He's accompanied by 2 orderlies. The orderlies are armed with submachine guns, and they're basically his personal hangers-on, runners, and general dog's bodies. Okay, and then we've got 2 infantry sections. The section here is a rifle section. The rifle section is led by a corporal, and they're all equipped with rifles and also armed with bombs, which in this setting are basically what we would think of now as grenades. The section here on the left is a light machine gun section. You can see that because it's got here a light machine gun, the MG08-15, the German light machine gun of the war, or the end of the war. It's also led by a corporal, and the other models have rifles. They're not armed with bombs, they're not meant to get up close in the face of the enemy. Now, we've got some backline units supporting this platoon. So we've got a Minenwerfer, 7.5cm Minenwerfer, which is more or less a mortar, albeit a slightly different sort of evolutionary branch of that. And we've got a heavy machine gun, the MG08 machine gun, which was based largely on the Maxim. And then lastly, we have here a bit of a rarity, but you know, fun to include, an A7V, which is the German heavy assault tank of the war. Actually only 20 odd built, but it looks cool, so we'll keep it in. So together, this is the German intervention infantry platoon. The intervention bit basically means that they're an attack platoon, so they would have been the higher quality troops, the more able soldiers, the fit and the young, who were put together into more elite attacking divisions to lead the German spring offensive. To signify that, the models here, the infantry models, have some keywords that give them a little bit of a boost, which we'll come back to at the relevant point. Okay, let's move on to the French. So, the French platoon is led here by a lieutenant. The lieutenant is backed up by a sergeant. And then the lieutenant has an orderly who's just helping him out, essentially. And then they also have a signaller. The signaller can help them with issuing orders and so on, and we'll see that a little bit later. We've then got 3 infantry sections. This is the automatic rifle section. The automatic rifle section is led by a junior sergeant, which is something slightly different that the French have, and he's seconded up by a junior corporal. We've then got 3 VB rifle grenadiers and 2 Schauscha light machine gunners. This squad has a lot of firepower. The French tended to concentrate a lot of firepower in the earlier platoon structure in this way, so this thing can really kick out some hurt. A platoon would normally have 2 of these, although we're playing with a slightly smaller understrength platoon for the purposes of this scenario. So then on the right we've got another infantry section. This section is a grenadier section. As the name implies, they are armed with hand grenades. So the whole squad's got hand grenades and they're led by a corporal. And then here on the left, we have this squad is actually not part of the normal French infantry platoon. This is an additional add-on. We can talk more about that later when we talk about force composition, but these guys would essentially be a divisional battalion support asset. This is a chasseur squad, so 7 chasseurs, chasseurs being the more elite light infantry arm of the French. And then lastly, in the back line here, we've got a trench gun. So this is a little 37mm light mobile gun that the French were very fond of. We've got a 75mm French gun. This is the really iconic, very modern and ahead of its time. By 1918, kind of showing its age a little bit, but still very useful as a direct fire and light artillery piece. And lastly, a sniper team who, as the name implies, can pick off enemy leaders with their optics from a distance. Lastly, the French force has access to a light artillery battery, which is deployed off-map. Thanks for watching. In the next video in this series, we will be covering Term 1 of the game.